Hey YouTube, Bill here, aka Whisky Lima, and today we'll be taking a closer look at the iCue Nexus by Corsair. This is a companion touchscreen for the iCue software, which has a whole range of uses, from customizable buttons to displaying system temperatures and even adding amusing animations. On the box is an example of what you can do with the software, but this isn't pre-made for you, so stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how you can make this custom companion screen for Rainbow Six Siege. The device is primarily designed to mount on the top of a Corsair keyboard, but at the moment there's only a few top tier keyboards supported out of the box. Perhaps something the 3D printing community can have some fun with in the future, who knows. It does however come with a standalone housing which can be positioned basically anywhere you like. The housing has a pass-through USB connector on the inside which will give you a nice clean look if you decide to use it. As I mentioned earlier, there are different mounting options for your Corsair keyboard. I'll be mounting mine on the K95 Platinum. The mount feels very sturdy and comes with 3M very high bond tape which will hold the Nexus very securely on the back of your keyboard. If you decide you want to remove the mount in the future, Corsair have also included this handy plastic removal tool to help you pry the mount off. And of course, last but not least, is the Nexus itself. It's smaller than I imagined it was going to be, but once in position on your keyboard, although it's discreet, I think the size is spot on. The housing is made of black plastic and includes a very tiny braided USB cable that you will use if you want to mount it to the back of your keyboard using the keyboard's USB pass-through port. To mount the Nexus on the included standalone housing, simply plug it into the USB port inside the holder, tuck away any excess cable and slot it into position. It's very easy to do and I think it looks really nice. So that's it for the contents of the box. It's pretty simple and includes everything you need to mount or position the Nexus however you'd like. To mount the Nexus to your keyboard, you'll need to find the mount that will work for you. A quick test fit helped me understand the orientation of the mount so I can figure out which one I have to use. Also, make sure the mount you choose has the hole for the USB port in the correct place. Next, you'll need to clean the area with an alcohol wipe to ensure a good strong bond. The adhesive tape will hold very well as long as the area is free from dust and dirt. Remove the backing from the VHB tape and press the mount into position. The instructions suggest that you should wait 24 hours before using the touchscreen to allow the tape to get a good strong hold, but I skipped that step because I'm impatient and wanted to play immediately. Next, simply plug in the USB cable from the back of your Nexus to the pass-through port on your keyboard and slide it onto the mount until it clicks into place. The Nexus will have a number of default screens depending on which other Corsair products you have, so you might want to have a play around with those. We can see there's a few default widgets here for temperature, fan speed, things like that, but there's also an option to set up lighting link modes on the fly by pressing the lighting link button on the screen. The only negative I could see was the viewing angle of the screen, which is not great from the sides, and from these angles it can be very difficult to read, but since most people sit directly in front of their keyboards, this is really a non-issue. So as I mentioned earlier, the box art shows a Rainbow Six Siege screen which isn't a preset out of the box, so I'll take you through how I made my screen for the game. You can tweak this to your own needs and use these steps to make screens for basically anything you want. To start with, you'll need to download the files in the link in the description if you want to follow along. Load up the iCue software and find the Nexus in your device list. Once you can see the screens that are available, click on the icon in the top left to change the view. Click on the Add button to add a new screen, and then click the hamburger in the top right corner of the screen to change the title and background image. Once you've given it a title, click on the 3 dots to find the image you want to use. I chose the dark version of the background because I think it's easier to see the buttons and the widgets on the screen. Press OK and you'll have your background image in place. Now we can add a button to the screen where the Rainbow Six title logo is. Click on Add next to the Action option and add the Open Application action for the button. Then you can navigate to the folder where your game is installed and select the executable file. Next we'll need to tell it not to use an icon, so we select the transparent icon, and we can also delete the title so that there's no image or words over the top of our background image. We can now use this button to launch the game. Next I'll add the time to the other side of the screen. Click on the Add button and select Widget. There's a bunch of widgets to choose from here for all your other Corsair products, but I'm just going to add the clock. In the drop down menu, look for Clock under System. You'll see a number of options here that you can adjust to display the time and date however you'd like. Now add the remaining 4 buttons by clicking on each of the spaces. We'll modify each to have a separate task and appearance later. To start with, click on the 3 dots next to the background image. Then we can navigate to the files you downloaded again, but this time we'll add the drawn image as our button background. Now we can add an action to the button. In this case, I will add the remap function and assign it to the number 6, which is the button that I use to deploy a drone in Rainbow Six Siege. Just like with the first button, remove the icon and the title to make it transparent. The same steps are repeated for the camera button, which I chose to map to the number 5. Finally, we can add some buttons which use the default icons in iCue. I'm going to use one for the letter Q and one for the letter E, which for me lets me move backwards and forwards through the cameras and drones in the game. The process is the same, but this time we'll keep the title, change the icon, and we won't be using a background image. That's really all there is to it. It's a very powerful device which has a ton of customization options. You could literally spend hours making screens for it if you wanted to. Overall, this is a very handy little device and I really like it. It's like the item for your computer you never knew you needed. In particular for me, as I only have one screen on my PC, I find it very useful while playing games, so I can keep an eye on the time, monitor system temperatures, and have custom buttons that I can easily see the function of. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. You are awesome. If you'd like to help the channel out, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, as it does help me out loads. If you have any questions or thoughts on this product, hit me up in the comment section below. See you next time.